From Fred Phelps to the Kinsey Six. The best of the best from Central Kansas and beyond. We do it all. We are KJAG Radio and the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show. Log on to JiggyJaguar.com and KJAGRadio.com for more.
Back here at the Kansas Cosmosphere and Space Center in the great Salt City, Hutchinson, Kansas. I'm Jiggy Jag out here for KJAG Radio, and I'm going to get the heck out of the way and let the people with talent talk. Terry, jump in there and talk to us about the weekend here that you've been participating in.
Well, there are about 20 SR-71 crew members, engineers, maintenance personnel that are here supporting the Cosmosphere this weekend. We've come in from all over the country to be a part of it, to help them raise money to support this operation. I have to say, it's the first time I've been here. It's the most impressive museum I've seen in a long time. It's, I think.
What'd you think when you walked in the door and saw this hanging up?
This thing, it's such a wonderful sight to see this aircraft displayed in this manner. I'm holding a book that I just published.
Yes, let's talk about the book here. How long did it take you to write this book and put this whole thing together?
For a number of years. Finished it about a year ago, published it this past June, and so I've been promoting and marketing the book and getting the website for people to purchase it online.
Now you spent 41 years flying aircraft.
True.
What's the biggest difference between the aircraft you've flown and this?
Well, this aircraft is remarkable in so many ways. Not only was the altitude and speed remarkable, you're flying at 2,300 miles per hour in the top 1% of the atmosphere. And when things go wrong, they go wrong in a hurry, and it's critical that you deal with it appropriately, quickly, and you don't have a second chance a lot of times. I tell people that flying a typical fighter-type jet is like driving an Indy 500 race car. Flying this airplane was like a land speed record run in salt flats. Only instead of lasting 20 seconds, it's going to last 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're pretty tired at the end of it.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the book here.
The book is pretty much my personal experiences when applying to the program, interviewing for the program, training for the operational phase of the program, and then actually flying the operational missions around the world. A little bit about closing the program down there in 1990. I operated it from 85 to 90. And a little bit about my career after that. But mainly, whenever I would give a presentation to people about the aircraft, there was always a question and answer phase at the end. And it was the most interesting part of the event. So I chose to use the question and answer format in my book.
Put the book together. What were some of the more peculiar questions that
people always want to know,
asked in the book and that you answer?
How do you go to the restroom when you're flying for hours on end? And we actually had a tube attached to a sac in our pressure suit to collect urine. So you had a prophylactic type device and a tube to urinate, so you pee in your pants. Well, that sounds easy enough, but it's not. It's not easy to do that, and you had to actually learn how to do that.
They have like training courses or
no,
something?
It's like learning to do anything. You have to think about it and
it's all trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error, exactly. And believe it or not, there are times when your muscles tighten up and you can't urinate for hours on end.
Yeah.
It can become a real physiological problem, and that happened to me on a real long mission. I was in the suit for 13 hours. I was in the air for 11.2 hours. I wasn't able to urinate the last 7 hours of the flight. I was actually shaking by the time I landed the airplane at night in Kadena. It was, I couldn't even stand up. They had to lift me out of the cockpit. I was so exhausted.
Wow. Now, with this plane, you've flown all sorts of different aircraft. Is there anything to compare to this?
No. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you're flying with 600 degrees this close to your head.
Yeah.
You're doing things that you've never done in any other airplane and never will.
The glass get hot?
Yes. In fact, you can put your hand up against the glass, but after about 2 seconds, it'll burn you even through the pressure suit and the gloves. So you couldn't touch it for any length of time.
Now you had a navigator in there as well.
Correct. Our navigators were Air Force navigators that were trained as reconnaissance systems officers. So So they operated the navigation equipment, reconnaissance equipment, the electronic warfare equipment. They helped us with the checklist procedures because the pilot is so busy keeping the pointed end going forward. When you have problems, you don't have the luxury of looking at your checklist, even though it's Velcro to your leg. I've got my hands full just flying the airplane, so John, my backseater, he'd have his fingers in 4 and 5 different places in the checklist while we were doing multiple malfunctions at the same time. Very stressful job. He's also like the co-pilot because he's handling the radios. He's there to help me with analyzing the systems issues. The airplane is full of fuel. It's about a 60,000-pound empty airplane, and you add 80,000 pounds of fuel. And you do that refueling at 25,000 feet. So you're taking on this super cold fuel. You're filling the airplane up with super cold fuel, which was really helpful because now you're going to go up and heat the airplane up at high altitude, high speed. The fuel acted as a heat sink to help dissipate that heat. The problem was when you get to the end of the high-speed leg, you've used up all your fuel. You don't have a heat sink now. That heat can start to manifest itself in a number of problems. Hydraulic issues, electronic systems can begin to malfunction. So that fuel was helpful in a lot of ways, being the heat sink.
Yeah, it was good autopilot on this. I know, not flowing like.
It was a limited autopilot. It was kind of like a platform autopilot. It was excellent at. We had an ANS, Astro-Inertial Navigation System, that would track stars day and night and help pinpoint our location within a few feet. And we had an autopilot that would engage that system and turn the airplane to maintain what we call the black line.
Wow.
We planned our routing very precisely relative to the targets that we wanted to photograph, and we had to maintain that black line, and the autopilot did a wonderful job of doing that. I still had to control the speed with thrust, throttles, and I had a little
control speed.
Had a little thumb wheel that I could control the altitude. So I could inch the altitude up higher and higher as we got lighter and lighter.
It wasn't like light planes where you could just punch in the altitude you want to go to.
No, you couldn't do an automatic level off. It wouldn't do that for you. It would just kind of do a platform for you.
Yeah.
And then I would make slight adjustments to control the altitude as I wanted to make that adjustment. Or I could click it off and fly the airplane by hand at Mach 3 as well. I just couldn't fly the black line as precisely as we needed to do an ops mission, so we have to abort it.
Well, imagine if you're trying to fly that by hand, you'd be.
Oh no, you can do it. I mean, I've done it a number of times. It's just
well, I know.
The precision required to collect the data.
Precision, that's what I'm talking about.
That you couldn't hold that black line as precisely as necessary to collect the targets.
Well, is the book available?
The book is available here at the Cosmosphere, and I'm signing autographs this afternoon, 2 to 5 o'clock. But if you catch me, I'll sign it anytime while I'm here this weekend.
Yeah, do you have a website or anything where people can purchase the book online or anything?
Blackbirdqa.com.
That's cool.
And if I gave you a card or not, that has it on there too.
Well, Terry, thanks for doing this, my friend.
You're welcome, James.
I appreciate it.
Wow,
Thanks for watching.